my hand straight?
I don't know.
Straight. It's straight.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Shrine of Aquila Studios. You are with us today as we talk about the upcoming changes to Warhammer 40k, including the FAQ and some of the beta that have been announced. We're going to go through the highlights and we're going to argue and debate over whether they are good or bad. If you like our channel, remember to hit that like button as well as the bell button, because if you want updates, you have to hit the bell button. It's the new like button. According to YouTube, it is very important. If you want to take your patronage to the next level, check out our Patreon. All sorts of great rewards, including giveaways and whatnot. Right now, we are giving away a Forgebane box. Only a couple days left. We're going to be ending the cutoff on April 20th. And
today's the 16th, so that's 4 days. If you're watching it
today, April 16, 2018. I don't want to hear anything from the future. But
I want to hear stuff from the future.
That's true. The future's good. Let's get into these changes. The big question is Warhammer
Don't say it.
Is Warhammer changing for the better or
that's better.
Worse?
That's better.
Let's jump straight into it. We are not going to be going through every single line of the FAQ. You can see the FAQ and the highlights at warhammercommunity.com, where they put all that stuff up for free. We're just going to talk about what makes us happy and what makes us sad. And I'm going to say right off the bat, everything's great. It's beautiful. I love it. It's wonderful. It's perfect.
All right, I'm happy for it. So
now I'm leaning back.
This FAQ has basically 3 sections as far as I'm concerned. It is FAQ for the current rules and all that stuff. It is turning the previous beta rules into real new rules, and then the addition of some new beta rules. Now, a lot of places just use, and a lot of tournaments and events use the old beta rules as canon already, so I'm going to assume that these new beta rules are going to be used as canon for some of these tournaments and things like that, because I can see people wanting to play with this rule set.
Let's also really quickly talk about something that's going on in the Warhammer 40k players universe, right? And that is, Warhammer has now set up 2 sorts of play. Right? They have power level play, which is supposed to be your casual, normal Friday night game with your friends, where you just are using the power level and whatnot. And then there is the tournament play, which is using points and all these other rules and whatnot. However, I don't think there are really that many people playing with the power points and whatnot. And so I think that whatever's going to be in this tournament power play is going to be the de facto rules that you just play with all the time with your friends, whether you're in a tournament or not. And for good reason, because clarity and specificity makes a good game. And
playing by the same rule book is always useful.
And playing by the same rule book is also
It's called open and match play, by the way.
By open and match play, sure.
Anyways, so 2 of the rules that were in beta for the last rule set, which was from the chapter approved, basically the targeting of characters and the smite rule change. So the old smite rule change was that you had minus to your die rolls as you casted smite successfully.
Correct.
So eventually it would be
impossible.
The issue is that the old way that they errated it was that you could also make it very easy to deny. So what they did on this next one is they changed it to just adding a difficulty to the smite roll.
Only for each attempt, though. Not just a successful attempt. For each attempt. So the way it works is on your first one, it's a 5. Even if you fail, even if you roll a 4, on your next attempt, you need a 6. And on your next attempt, you need a 7, and an 8, and a 9, and a 10.
Really?
All the way up to 11.
Really?
Yes.
I did not see that.
Yes. The smite power warp charge now increases 1 after each attempt. Page 5.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we actually tested this in our narrative campaign, which is up now. So if you want to check out that video, it's video 3 and 4, I believe, is when we started using the new smite rule. And we did it only in the event of a successful smite, meaning if I rolled my first one and I got it off, then my second one, it would be 1 higher. But now it's for each attempt, with the exception of Thousand Suns and
Lame Nights.
No! Grey Knights.
But not horrors. Come on. They have brought out the
thank
Psychers.
goodness.
Come on.
Thank goodness. No. if they have Brotherhood of Psychers, it says keyword Brotherhood of Psychers.
Specifically says Grey Knights and Thousand Suns.
I think it said Brotherhood of Psychers.
I actually think they have Brotherhood of Psychers, but they're the same thing.
Models with the Brotherhood of Psyker or Brotherhood of Sorcerer's rule can manifest Smite without an increase in warp charge cost. They will always manifest Smite on a 5+. Now they pointed out in the community specifically Thousand Suns and Awesome Knights, but anything that has those keywords will not be affected.
But I think the horrors might be called something different.
Yeah, the horrors might be called something. Here's my thing. I don't understand why they're patching this. I really don't. They came up with a fantastic rule that dealt with some of the problems of previous psychic phases and previous editions of the game where just really powerful stuff was going off all the time, and they created, what was it, the triumvirate of where you could take the 5 librarians and they all shared psychic powers and they were all rolling on a 2+ and what, I don't remember what that was called. Why are they, you can only cast Smite once. Like, if you can only cast psychic powers once and let them only cast it once, there are plenty of other psychic powers. They keep trying to fix this rule that they broke from the very beginning. They made a standard rule, 1 psychic power, and now they're like, well, we need to modify it. And I'm glad they're modifying it because I don't like just being Smite blasted or really even doing it myself to the opponents just over and over and over again. But at the same time, it's a broken rule. It's still a broken rule, and they know it's a broken rule because it breaks their 1 key rule. 1 psychic power.
Yeah, they did that so that you could have something going on when you couldn't necessarily cast the 1 spell that you had. I think that that the way to get around this would be do something like Age of Sigmar, where everyone has their own special power, and then they get to choose a power from whatever book that they get it from. So
yeah, that's fine.
There's more variety for what's going on.
I just don't understand why they set up a rule that broke their original rule in the first place. I think they should just deal with that. Anyways, that's one of the changes. It's not that big of a deal, unless you were gonna spam horrors, which you're not doing that anyways because they already broke that list. So
the character one,
let's talk about characters. Yeah,
being able to target a character that is the closest, that's invisible. Blah 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 blah. Basically, the old rule is very similar to the new rule. The thing that they just clarified is that yes, you have to be able to see the model. It has to be the closest model as well. So even if you can't see a character, a unit that is closer than the character, you still can't target that character.
Right, but that's not the critical distinction that they made.
Well, that's one of them, and the other thing is that other characters with less than 10 wounds can't stop you from targeting somebody else. So
right,
you can't
so
hide somebody in a ruin.
Right, so let's say you have Mortirion, right? Well, that's a bad example because he has a lot of wounds.
It's a terrible idea.
That's a terrible example. Let's say you have 2 Demon Princes, okay, and your Lord of Pain? Lord of Rot? What's the guy that gives everybody the charge for the Nurgle?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Ugh, I'll just find a silly model. He lets all of the walkers run extra.
Oh,
Typhus.
No, it's the... I don't...
It's one of these 3.
Yeah, I know which one is the bell guy.
The bell guy.
Yeah.
This guy.
The guy that know... Why did you bring him out?
Because in the old rules, you couldn't target him if he was in front.
Right.
Because he is the closest model, and even though this guy is your threat because he's going to make everybody run much faster, you couldn't target him. Now you can. Individual models with less than 10 wounds do not stop you from shooting at other individual models with less than 10 wounds, even if they're the closest model. And that is a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, people have been playing that way for a little while. It's just some slight variation on the exact ruling that they've had.
We haven't played with that rule.
It hasn't really come up.
Yeah.
Usually there's other units around that are closer than the character.
True. I do wish that they would have gotten rid of if you're not in line of sight, it doesn't count.
Yeah, I like that rule.
I know you do. I don't. I don't like that rule at all. I think that you should have a viable target to shoot at. So that's my opinion. But that is a big change and it's a big deal. It does affect some of the tournament lists. I don't know what they're doing on Tatooine, but
their base matches though.
Their base does match.
It's very pretty.
What else do we have in here?
I don't know. What do you got next?
We have command points. I love this.
So I'm mixed on this because I feel like you're going to see more soupless than the soup rule is going to stop. And here's why.
Let's talk about the rule first.
Every
change
is that brigades are now 12 points and battalions are now 5 points.
Yep.
For CPs. Every Imperium list is going to take battalions of Imperial Guard to add extra points. I think it's 60 plus 120, like 180 points for 5 CPs, and you get 3 units and 2 characters.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be bad for some of this stuff that's going on. You're just going to see battalions taken, and your armies aren't going to make sense anymore. You're going to have like a full Blood Angels army, and then like a battalion
of guard,
or maybe 2 battalion of guard and a huge full Blood Angels army. It's just going to be wonky.
Well, I think, and that's a good point, because they haven't specifically said what lists they're targeting. They've implied what lists they're targeting. Right?
They're targeting lists that are heavy on things other than troops.
Right, but they have not talked about the current Imperial Guard list where you just drop all the mortars, and you have this giant block of mortars that puts out way more damage than you can ever do to it, and also takes an hour and a half to set up in a tournament.
Yeah.
And they haven't dealt with that at all, which I find surprising.
Yeah, that's kind of fallen out of favor, though. Because it's not very maneuverable, and it's not super great. You can tie up stuff and do all kinds of nasty stuff to it still.
Sure. But, in general, I think that for regular play, for open play and not match play, I like it a lot. I really want to play more troop lists. I want to play less elite lists. They came out with the rules that pretty much let you take whatever you wanted at any time. They're like, oh, we didn't realize that people were going to make soup lists. Well, you put absolutely 0 restrictions on it.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. And so incentives to play more troops, with maybe the exception of just tons and tons and tons of guard. I think in general across the board, when you just show up to play your friend with custodes or whatever, is good.
Yeah.
Incentive to do that.
I think that the main problem that they were trying to solve here, there's 2 of them. 1, there's not enough CPs in the game to utilize all your cool stuff.
True.
And 2, they want to see lists that look like armies as far as they're concerned. I don't like this heavy-handed approach to it. I feel like if they wanted to see more CPs, then just add 1 to everything.
Right, but that doesn't address the other concern, which is that they
wrong.
want more troops on the battlefield. Why are they wrong?
Because it's
wrong.
stupid.
It's not stupid.
If they wanted more troops on the ground, they need to make troops better.
No, they don't have to make troops better. They just have to limit what else you can take.
They can force people to play more troops by making troops better.
I think that you are looking at it from a power gamer rule, that you want the best rules on the battlefield, and they're looking at it from more of an overarching thing, which is let's put troops on the battlefield.
I get that, but can you deny that if troops were better, that people would play with more troops?
No, I think that individuals should be worse.
Individuals.
I think that non-troop units...
Characters
and elites should either be dramatically more expensive, or there should be a limit on the number that you can take.
See, I'm all against nerfing. I'm all for buffing, though. See, because nerfing things is not fun. You don't want to see your stuff get screwed up. But if everybody's troops get better, that's awesome. Everybody's happy.
That's true.
Yeah,
I suppose that's another way
to
do it. So that's the command benefits that they talked about.
I'm going to abuse the hell out of it. So,
but you're going to do that anyways. Yes, you were.
Whatever.
Points. Gilliman, more expensive. Dark Reapers, more expensive. Expect point increases for stuff that...
and fly rents are more expensive.
And fly rents.
It's not a huge amount. On any of these, so it's not going to stop anyone who's taking them. They just might have to drop off some weapons off of something.
All right, so now we have the top 3 items.
Hold up, there's more than that. First, the Tide of Traders for Chaos has been limited to once per game. You also need to pay reinforcement points if you're adding Poxwalkers to a unit above your maximum starting. Yeah. Which basically means that no one's ever going to take them ever again. Because they're absolute trash now. Let's see, what else is trash? It's not trash. They are trash. There's some other things that aren't so bad. I still think the cultist blobs are still great, but the Poxwalkers are garbage now.
Oh, you know what we skipped? We skipped the rerolls of wounds and wound stacking for Death Guard.
It's not just for Death Guard.
Well, it says literally Death Guard on the page. So
it does, but there's a lot of... Basically, you're only going to ever get 2 saves versus a wound. So you'll get your regular save or an invulnerable save, and then you'll get one way to avoid that wound save. You just pick the best of.
Right, so it says, imagine facing a unit benefiting from both the Warlord trait, Tenacious Survivor, and the Death Guard ability, Disgustingly Resilient. They have an armor save, and then 2 chances to stop at a 6+ and a 5+, respectively. And they say that this is not what they were intending. They were not intending to be able to stack. So now they are limiting your ability to do that.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to really make that big of a deal. There's very few armies that had anything like that.
But what about Invuln save and Feel No Pain?
Yeah, you can still get that.
Okay.
Yeah, you get your original save and then the next one.
Well, no, but you have, right, because you take your Invuln as opposed to your armor.
Right.
Okay.
So it's just it's very minor. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal.
I'm wondering why they pointed it out, but
they're trying to make the game go faster because it was fast to begin with, and then it's just gummed up the works as it's been going on. It's just becoming thicker and thicker to play.
And well, a faster game means you can play more points.
Yeah, I actually really like this game at 1,000 points. I think 2,000 is too big.
1,500.
It's all right. It's better than 2,000. 2,000 is too much.
1257.
Sure. I like
1257. That's the new Cool Guys Nation point limit. Now, of course, we have the beta rules.
Yeah. By the way, before we get to the beta rules, there's a whole bunch of errata on a bunch of books as well. So if go and look on the website, there's FAQs for the last 12 books.
Yeah.
And they'll have all of the updates in magenta, so you can check that out.
Yeah, but expect price increases and nerfing and just things in general.
It's not that bad.
Really?
No.
I think it's
they
bad.
gave Death Guard Demon Princes the ability to have a Plague Spewer.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. All right, and all of mine already have it modeled because they all have a mouth.
Well, you don't know that it comes out of the mouth.
I do because I made it. All right, anyways, next, the beta rules.
The beta rules. Bum, 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 bum.
So there are...
Murder the spam!
3 beta rules.
Oh, and they're so good. They make me so happy.
There's 3 beta rules. And that is the reserves and first turn shenanigans.
That's the reserves, yeah.
Yeah, and the maximum amount of data sheets per level of play that you're doing.
Let's start there. So, again, this is marked as competitive play, but what they're saying is up to 1,000 points, number of detachments, 2, number of times each data sheet can be included, 2, battlefield size 4x4, and game length.
So
up
all
to 2
of this
hours.
is old already. The only thing that's new is they've added this section.
Right. For 1,000 to 2,000 points, detachments 3. Number of times you can use a data sheet 3. 3. That's 3, not 6. 6x4 table and 2 to 3 hours, and then 2 to 3,000 points. 4, 4, 8x4 table, way more than 3 hours. I think this is fantastic. I know you don't agree.
I don't agree.
I don't like spam.
Yes, you do.
No. I like spam from a perspective of it works.
What was the last game we played?
Yeah, and you made the list and they were spam.
I didn't make your list.
Yeah.
No, you made your list for our team game. I mean, the game we just played.
Which was our Adepticon list.
Yeah, but you played it.
Yeah, and it was 3 units of custom
We did not
attackers.
plan to fight each other's armies against each other.
It was fantastic. Check it out. It's going to be up soon.
It's really good. It's
Did-
dumb. I think it's going to
it's
cost GW a lot of money. People are going to
Okay, let's talk about that.
Why
Why will it cost GW money?
Because there's people that were buying more than 3 of each unit to play with. So,
But I think it's going to
don't have
dramatically
to.
increase the fun of each game that's being played.
No, because now I'm forced to play more trash.
You're not forced to play more trash. You're forced to be more creative.
With
I mean,
trash.
the entire point of the game is to have your troops and your commanders and your elites. You're not you're not
That's
supposed to just
your-
play elites.
That's your idea.
No,
of
that's
the
what
game.
their idea of the game. They've written it
Yeah,
in this statement. All of this is shaping around that idea of the game.
That's fine. They're wrong. Because what they envision doesn't matter for other people's things. I wanted to play like my Seraphim army that I have.
Sure, it's beautiful.
It's trash now because I can't use it.
Not
it's
in
stupid.
not in a 2,000 point game.
No, No, not in a 1,000 point game, not in a 2,000 point game, not in a 3,000 point game.
Right, but those are fast attack or whatever they are.
Yeah, it was a whole army that had a theme and it was cool.
Right, but that's frustrating for people. Like if the game is just about picking the coolest miniatures that have the most powerful rules and putting it on the board,
the coolest
then that's what
miniatures. They're not the best units in that army by far.
I think that we proved that they're really, really good.
I can make a way meaner list than Seraphim. Faux show.
I think that overall it's going to have dramatically increase the competitiveness and the fun of the game.
No.
And I think that now we have an actual definitive answer as to what is spam. 3 units is not spam. 4 units is spam. That's the rule. Other games use this all the time. Now, it's a common game mechanic. This isn't like out of the blue.
Troops and transports can break that rule?
Yes, they can.
So... Toroxes are true transport, dedicated transports.
I figured that the first thing you're going to do is dust off your Toroxes and drop them on the table.
Let's see, what else is dumb on this? So, I don't think there's a whole lot of other
I'm happy there's not going to be 6 Demon Princes and 5
Oh no, there'll still be 6 Demon Princes because I'll take 3 Nurgle Demon Princes from the Nurgle book, Demons book, and then I'll take 3
but you
Death
only
Guard
have 3
Demon
detachments.
Princes. Huh?
3 detachments.
Yep, and then I'll take 3 Tzeentch Demon Princes from the Thousand Suns book, and then I will just build armies around those. So it doesn't stop that.
Let's move to soup. Talking about mixing it all up, soup. They are not happy about soup. All units in each detachment, our Battleforge armies must at least have 1 faction keyword in common. In addition, the keyword cannot be Chaos, Imperium, Eldari, Yennari, or Tyranids, unless the detachment in question is a fortification network. And then they made an exception for Sisters of Silence, but you have to put them in a detachment that doesn't have an HQ.
And Assassins, and a couple of other things, but...
No, they specifically pointed out that they didn't want the Assassins.
No, Assassins, they were trying to get with this thing.
Gotcha.
So the soup thing, like the Assassins and the Sisters, they don't have any other way to come in the game without being soup. Because there's no HQ Assassin, there's no HQ...
There should be an HQ Assassin.
That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the soup?
It's whatever. It's people weren't really doing that anymore. It's a fix for something that isn't happening. They've already fixed that rule with the other rule that with targeting characters and stuff. That's the whole thing. Basically, it's going to stop some of the battalion stuff that you'll see. So, for instance, for demons, for chaos, you can take battalions of horrors and Tzeentch characters and just make them real cheap. Now I can't put like my cool you can't put like obliterators in that as well because then they have to be Tzeentch obliterators. I can't put my sweet Slanesh ones that can double tap in. So it's stopping some of that stuff. I don't think it's really
What list
necessary.
do you think it's specifically targeting?
It's trying to target the character list right now, and it's trying to prevent the battalion stuff that they've just buffed with adding more points to the battalions.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being successful at stopping this stuff and 1 being completely pointless and not going to matter, where do you think it falls?
Which one? The soup one?
The soup, all of it.
So
combine. All of it combined.
No, I'm not going to do it all combined because...
But it all works
The
together.
soup one is like a 4. The spam one is like an 11. It's way too much. And then the first turn movement kind of stuff, which we haven't got to yet. So there's 2 things. There's the tactical reserves, which says that you have to have half your units on the board and half the power level of your army has to be deployed. Mm-hmm. And then you can't...
Including units in transports.
Right, and you can't deep strike into areas other than your deployment zone on the first turn. So
I don't like that one.
No, it's really ham-handed because I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to stop alpha strikes.
Yeah.
But that literally gives you 2 turns to put that out, so you get less tactical use out of the models that you're putting up there.
Right, because you get turn 2 and turn 3 to put it wherever you want, but on turn 1 you can't just like drop it down. And I tell you, I talked to Josh about this before, I think it would be absolutely amazing if drop pods had a use again, and that it was drop pods, half your drop pods, rounding up, were able to deploy anywhere on the battlefield, turn 1.
Anywhere on the battlefield.
Anywhere on the battlefield, turn
like
1.
Right next to one.
No, more than 9 inches away.
That's that's specific. You got to get specific.
Sorry, more than
drop pod assault, basically.
Drop pod assault, because drop pods are pointless, and I have 11 of them.
I think that could work if you actually had to put drop pods in your side of the army as well. So like you would have 6 of your drop pods out of your 11 would be on the table, and then to deploy, and then 5 could drop first turn. That'd be pretty cool.
Okay, I don't know about that being cool, but
at least you could do that right now. Actually, that's totally legal.
No, but they would still on turn 1 they still have to deploy into your deployment zone.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm saying it would give a meaning to having drop.
Well, these are all beta rules. I do not like half of the beta rules,
and the ones that you don't like them a lot.
The only one I don't like is the 3 data sheet one.
I feel best one.
Like that is annoying as heck. And if they're gonna do that, they need to increase some
points of troops and transports.
Huh? That's not what I was gonna say.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say they need to add the ability to have squadrons for some vehicles and stuff that people have.
Oh, I see. So you can still spam without.
So like I've got 6 onagers. What am I gonna do with 6 onagers? I can only ever use 3 now. That makes half the army worthless.
When were you using 6?
I've used 6 multiple times.
Well, they used to have that in 7th edition. You could take fleets of vehicles where one vehicle counted, as a pack of vehicles.
That. Yeah. Like guards still have it, but I mean, like that needs to happen to onagers. It needs to happen to some other tanks.
I don't think that it does. I think that's exactly why they're getting rid of it. I think that's exactly why they're getting rid of it. This is the only problem, and Josh has already said it, and he's 100% correct. They have identified a set of things that they're moving this way. But they leave open the troops and the transports, and there is a ton of abuse to be had with troops and transports.
Yeah. My Sisters of Battle are going to be a lot better with transports, because I think everything's a dedicated transport for them.
Yep. So they haven't, eliminated the entire concept of spam.
Yeah.
It seems like they are trying to push the game more towards troops and a couple HQs and transports, and then a few cooler models to put on the table, which, to be honest with you, I think is fantastic for playing with your friends in your YouTube studio or at your gaming store. I don't know if it's as effective for the tournaments, because there is just... the list of abuses is very, very long.
Yeah, I think you're just going to see even dumber lists, honestly. The lists are going to be even dumber than normal. Like, they're not going to look like armies.
Why? What are they going to do?
I don't know. Like, right now, you can see some really cool armies. But imagine if you just got, okay, so Eldar need to fill out their battalion. So what are they going to take? They're just going to take, 50 friggin' Rangers. They're going to take 6 units of Rangers with 4 HQs, and then just add some other stuff. So you just have Rangers as your foot troops. Maybe a unit of Guardians. That's just dumb.
I think that sounds awesome. Well, that is your overview of the beta rules. Tell us where you stand. Leave a comment below. Do you agree with Josh that they've really nerfed the game and they've gone way overboard? Do you agree with me that we are providing some balance and some sanity and some better organization and have better defined the point of the game?
I am only upset about the 3 data sheet rule. I feel like that is too restrictive.
Okay. Also, hit that like button, hit that bell button.
My army lists.
I know all of his army lists.
And it screws up the army stuff that I have.
Because he spams everything.
You can't take knights anymore.
Listen, I asked him to make a list. I said, Josh, don't spam. Okay? Just in this game, don't spam. He brought 4 of the same model. He was like, I was going to do 6, but I don't remember. We played it at Grognard's. He can't even do it. Real. He cannot make a list using only 2 of one thing. Can't do it. It hurts your brain.
2 of one what?
You can't have more than 2 of any one unit.
I think that armies look cool when there's multiple units of it. When you go and you look at army formations and stuff in real life, they're not we've got one of everything. No, they've got rows of awesome vehicles that are all the same, then rows of
that's when they're on parade.
And that's when I'm gonna put my armies on parade.
Well, I think we've made it very clear. It's very clear as to where we stand. We want to hear from you. Leave a comment, leave a like, check out our Patreon, and never miss an update. Hit that bell button. Until next time, this is
Josh,
and I'm Aaron, and we'll see you on